All right, so the Georgia-Mississippi State game just ended. I'm sitting here trying to watch four other games at the same time. Ohio State's playing Oregon. The Voltards are losing to Florida at home, so I want to get to these games too, but there's a lot to be said about that Georgia game that we just watched. And I've got to stand up for this one because I'm excited and I'm also mad at the same exact time. So finally, the offense scores 40 points in an SEC game. Granted, it's against the worst team in the SEC, Mississippi State, but the offense scores 41 points in this game and looks like they have a pulse in this game. Couldn't be happier about the points. But the thing that pisses me off, and I've never seen this shit in big-time college football more than I haven't seen this in Little League and damn pound ball and shit more than I've seen it with this Georgia team. The drop passes is a fucking problem. The drop passes by Arian Smith, Oscar Delpin, whoever else dropped the ball today. I've never seen more drops by people on scholarship in my entire life. The drop passes thing is fucking maddening. But the problem is, Arian Smith, the one who drops one out of every single three that you throw to him, he's our leading wide receiver. So we can't stop throwing the ball because Colby Young just got kicked off the team. Ra Thomas got kicked off the team. Both of them like to beat people up, women and shit, so they're kicked off the team. Don't know what the fuck is going on with that. So it's not like we can just stop throwing Arian Smith the ball because he's our leading wide receiver, even though he can only catch 2 out of every 3 that get thrown to him. The drop passes thing is absolutely unbelievable. And so now on to, you want to know where this game got all fucked up? Because Georgia was in total control of this game from start to finish. But where this game got all fucked up is that drive where Mississippi State got their drive extended 3 different times on 3rd and 4th down from penalties. And the drive got extended. Cass Jones had a face mask, or not Cass Jones. They both been there about the same period of time. Chaz Chambliss by a little bit longer, though. Chaz Chambliss with the face mask. I forget what the other ones were. But on 3rd and 4th down, Mississippi State gets the drive extended 3 times, goes down the field and scores, okay? Georgia gets the football. Georgia drives it all the way down the football field, looking good on offense, hitting plays, driving. And what you know, Carson Beck throws it right to the other team again for the 12th time this season. Threw it right to Alabama 8 times. They caught 3 of them. So it just unbelievable. Unbelievable. The first one wasn't his fault. Getting batted by the defensive lineman at the beginning of the game. But I've never seen a 6'4" quarterback get more balls batted down than I do Carson Beck. It's unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable. And I'm sorry. Like, he threw for a career high today, but I was expecting Carson Beck to take a step forward this season and be more accurate on the intermediate throws and on the deep ball. And that's not the case. If anything, I believe, in my opinion, Carson Beck has taken a step back this season. Now we got to throw the ball more because our running backs just aren't any fucking good, and we won't give the one that is good, Nate Frazier, the ball. So on that note, Branson Robinson leaves the game today with an injury. So Nate Frazier actually has to play. Nate Frazier and ETN need to be the 1-2 running backs from now on. If you want to put in Cass Jones on 3rd down for him to run a wheel route or whatever here and there, that's fine. But it needs to be Nate Frazier and ETN from here on out. I mean, Branson Robinson, I hate that he was injured. I hate that he got injured today, but he just hasn't looked good this season. He just has not looked good this season, and I'm just being honest. If anybody's looking for an area to say, hey, Josh, you were wrong about this or wrong about that, and you're an idiot, defensive line. Defensive line has actually surprised me and played pretty decent, in my opinion, this season compared to what I thought they were going to do. The defensive line isn't the biggest vulnerability on this Georgia team. It's the wide receivers dropping the fucking football and Carson Beck throwing the other team the ball. I mean, an offensive line missing blocks and shit. I mean, I'm sorry. This Georgia team just is not as good. Just is not as good. Yeah, we scored 40 points. I'm happy about that. We're playing a lot of young guys on defense. Daniel Harris got beat on the 35-yard deep ball or whatever. He's a true freshman or sophomore, whatever. I don't too much have a problem with that besides the fact that he was nowhere close to the guy. I don't know if it was a bust, if he thought Malachi Starks was going to be over the top. I don't know. I don't know what happened with that. But we got to get these young guys in the game and let them play. So a young guy was in there playing. He got beat. You know, I can live with that. What I don't like was the penalties, okay? The penalties on that drive that got extended, Carson Beck throwing the other team the ball, and the offensive line missing easy-ass blocks and shit. Blocks that we've come I mean, it's to be expected that you make at Georgia. I mean, just since Kirby Smart has been here, the offensive line has been pretty solid and a strength of the majority of our Georgia teams. And right now, to say that this offensive line is a strength of our team, I don't know. That's a little bit of a stretch. What? And that's another thing that's got me just so confused. Like, I don't know what this Georgia team is. I don't know if we're good, a good team that plays bad at times. I don't know if we're an average team that plays great and then shitty at times. That's what's so frustrating. For 5 minutes of the game, we look great, and then another 5 minutes we look like total trash, and then it just goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth all game long. I mean, there's no consistency in this game, in this Georgia team's game. It's just unbelievable. It's just frustrating. Defensive line looked good. Linebackers looked okay. Raylan Wilson got sucked inside again, just like the Alabama game last season, the SEC championship. Got sucked inside. Tailback bounces out. What is it? I mean, we can't contain the edge at this team this season. I don't know what the deal is with that. KJ Bolden got his first interception as a Georgia Bulldog. I was happy to see that. KJ Bolden's going to be a star. I was happy about that. Ingram Dawkins played good. Jalen Walker played good. Didn't really see Michael Williams much in this game. What else is new? Haven't seen much of him since the Oregon game his freshman year. What else do I want to say about this game? I mean, I'm happy that we scored 41 points and all. It would have been 48 had Carson Beck not thrown it right to the other team again. We got to stop doing that. So I don't know, man. Just the inconsistency with this team. I don't even know what we are. I know one thing. I know that we're nowhere near what we were in 2021, 2022. We just don't have the players. Our wide receivers are not as good. Our defensive line sure as shit ain't as good. We ain't got no first-round guys on the defensive line. Secondary probably took a little bit of a step back, but we've got a lot of young guys. Who knows? Running back, we're miles away, miles and miles and miles away from where we were. Stetson Bennett, I'd take him over Carson Beck all day long, especially since Carson Beck got with that Instagram model. Ever since then, it's been a fucking disaster, and Carson Beck is taking a step back. That's just my opinion. Who else do I want to talk about? Dillon Bell had a big-time catch in the back of the end zone. I was begging for Dillon Bell and Nate Frazier to get the ball more and for Georgia to get 40 points today. They did all that. There was some stuff that we could have done better, but overall, I'm happy with the parts of the game, and then there's some parts of the game I'm unhappy. Really, I'm happy with the game. Just the fucking drops, man. The drops are unbelievable. Like, imagine how good we could be if we would have caught those balls. Like, imagine if everything that hit us in two hands. Now, I understand, like, it's out of your reach and shit, and it hits you, like, on the tip of your fingers, and you've got two defenders hitting you, one high and one low. I can understand you drop the ball there. But when it hits you in both hands and you drop the ball, I mean, I'm not going to have any sympathy or be, kind or none of that shit about that, man. You're fucking getting paid a lot of money to go out there and catch the fucking football when it's thrown to you. And our wide receivers, damn, drop it more than anybody I know. It's unbelievable. The drops, the penalties, and the O-line, we can get better on all that. The tackling, we can get better on tackling. Like, this isn't the tackling that I've come to expect by a Kirby Smart team. It's freaking maddening. So, again, here we are, another game into the season. We still have no idea what this Georgia team is. If somebody's watching this video and you've watched it this far, like, what's this team's identity, honestly? I mean, we throw the ball a lot. We have no running game. We have no threatening running game, to be honest, if we want to be real about that. Our offensive line isn't imposing. D-line has played okay. We really didn't blitz or try to get pressure or anything like that today. I was fine with that. Not a big deal. Something's going on with the Tennessee-Florida game. Florida's still up 3-0, though. I hope Tennessee loses. So anyways, Georgia, we've got the potential to be really good. We've got the potential to go to the SEC championship game. If we play our best, we can win it. We've got the potential to make a deep run in the playoffs. I honestly believe all that. But we've got to play our best. We can't be dropping the ball. We can't be missing blocks and tackles and shit. Like, the inconsistency's got to stop. And I will say that, like, over the course of the past 3 weeks, since the second half of that Bama game, I can see improvement, at least, from Bama on to Auburn, now to today. The offenses look better and better and better. We're making progress. So there's a positive note. The young secondary should be growing up. So we're 6 games into this season now. So if you are a true freshman like KJ Bolden at the beginning of the year, you're 6 games into SEC football now at UGA. You're not a freshman anymore. So those guys should be coming along and growing up. It would be nice if we could keep getting healthy on the D-line. I don't know if Jordan Hall played today or not. I saw Brinson getting chewed out pretty good on the sideline, so I know he played. Ingram Dawkins, we already said that. He played good. The defensive line's been all right. Christian Miller's been all right. So the D-line has played a lot better than I've expected this season. It was good to see Kirby Smart jumping people's ass and getting on to people all game long today. Hadn't really seen that at the Bama game or the Auburn game. I like when Kirby Smart yells at people. I mean, that's just my opinion, but I mean, I feel like he's got to, light a fire under this team's ass and get him to play better. Honestly, I mean, I really do. What else did I want to say before I get off of here? The crowd impacted the game, was definitely a hell of a lot better than the Auburn game, so that was good to see. But honestly, when it showed on the TV going into the fourth quarter, the 300s on the UGA sideline were totally empty going into the fourth quarter. And the stadium was definitely empty halfway through the fourth quarter. So that's embarrassing. I don't really understand how you could pay $600 to $1,000 or whatever it is that you paid for your tickets, and it'd be a 10-point SEC game at home, 1 out of 6 that you're going to have at home. Not even, because Tennessee Tech, that's a fucking scrimmage game. I mean, that's not even a real game. So 1 out of the 5 good, I guess you could call them that. 1 out of the 5 home games that we got, you pay all this money. You usually drive from Atlanta up to Athens, sitting through all kind of traffic, finally make it in the stadium, up the hills, down the hills, up the hills, down the hills, into the stadium, and you do all that just to leave early. I don't really understand that. You're not going to beat traffic out of there unless you leave at halftime, 3:16, all through Athens, and then down 3:16 is going to be a disaster. Clear till you get past the Gwinnett County Jail, and that's just a fact. So if that's what you want to do and you want to leave early, I guess you're entitled to that. I wouldn't do that. I would rather just stay late and go talk to Brandon Adams at the UGA bookstore and stay there for an hour and a half, 2 hours longer than everybody else, and then leave and just get back late. That way I don't have to deal with any traffic. That's what I would rather do. So Georgia, if we just keep getting better and keep taking steps forward and can just play more consistent, give Dillon Bell and Nate Frazier the football and get the ball in our playmakers' hands. I think Bobo has called some good games this year. So everybody hating on Mike Bobo, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, the plays have been there, and we dropped the passes. We're missing blocks and stuff like that. You can't put that on Bobo. Defense, if we can just keep getting better, man. We don't have the guys that we had on defensive line. We need Smile Munden back, and our corners have got to keep getting better at this point of the season. At this point in his career, Dalen Everett is what he is. He's good probably for 1 touchdown a game, getting beat. He got beat again today. It wasn't for a touchdown, but still totally got beat and burned. Looked god-awful doing it. So nothing new when it comes to Dalen Everett getting beat. Dan Jackson, everybody hating on Dan Jackson. He's quietly having a really good season. Like I always say, if you're a defensive back or a safety, no news is good news. You don't ever see Dan Jackson getting beat and torched down the field and shit, not turning his head to the ball. He's coming up and making a lot of tackles and run support. So I'm grateful to have Dan Jackson this season. KJ Bolden looks amazing as a freshman. Julian Humphreys got beat late for a touchdown. That's fine. I'd rather have him get beat this week than next week at Bama. Same with Daniel Harris. If you're going to get beat for a touchdown, get it out of the way at home against your fans and, in a meaningless garbage time touchdown against Mississippi State instead of on the road against Texas next week. Now, if we could come out next week and start fast and look good against Texas, that would be amazing. Nothing would make my fall season happier than if we could go get a road win against Texas at night in prime time. I'm still sitting here wondering, everywhere we go, every road game, to Tuscaloosa, to Kentucky, to Texas, every single one of them motherfuckers is a 7:30 kick, night game. So their fans are all hopped up, all excited for a night game. I'm just sitting here wondering when Georgia's big night game is going to be. So Tennessee, if Tennessee finds a way to win this Florida game and Tennessee's in the top 10 or 15, that fucking Tennessee game better be a night game. That's bullshit, man. We have not had enough night games at Georgia since Kirby Smart has been there. We've had way too many noon games. It's ridiculous. But yet everywhere that we go in the country, we're everybody's primetime game on ABC at 7:30. And it's not fair. It's not fair. And I mean, I hate to bitch and shit, but I can't be the only one that sees that everywhere that we go, we're that team's, main event of the fucking football season. Kentucky, Bama, Texas, and wherever else we go, I'm sure it'll be a 7:30 kick. Ole Miss, I'm sure. Well, I'm sure it'll be game day at Ole Miss too, if they can keep winning. Doubtful though, with Lane Kiffin as the head coach. So I've got on here and rambled long enough. I want to go watch the Voltards lose to Florida. Maybe they'll win. I don't know. And then I'm hoping that Oregon's up 7-0 on Ohio State. I want to see Oregon beat Ohio State too, because Ohio State, I told everybody all offseason, Ohio State might have the best team on paper and the highest paid team on paper. But one thing I know about Ryan Day, he's going to crumble under pressure. He's going to lose one game this season that he shouldn't. I'm sure he was favored in the Oregon. I know he was favored actually by 3.5 against Oregon. He could find a way to lose this one. It could be Michigan. It could be a different one. But Ryan Day is going to lose at least one game. Doesn't matter if he has the best players or not. He's going to find a way to lose a game. Ohio State will still get into the playoff because their ESPN and the media is darling, and that's just how that goes. They're going to put that big brand in the playoff. Probably same with Alabama if Alabama doesn't find a way to lose 3 games. So we'll see what happens. Georgia, just keep getting better and better, man. Georgia fans, we need you guys. I mean, I'm going to the Voltard game later in November, so I'll be at that one doing what I can, yelling at the top of my lungs to support the team, with all the Georgia fans looking back at me, screaming at the top of my lungs like I'm crazy and shit. But I'm sorry, if I pay all that money to get into the game and drive all the way up there to Athens from Smyrna, sitting through all that traffic and shit, giving up my Saturday to go into the stadium, I'm going to stand there and scream and yell and get my money's worth and try and contribute to the team. I don't know about the rest of y'all. That's kind of just the way that goes, though. So you can look back at me like I'm crazy. That's fine. Everybody did that at Tuscaloosa, too, when I was one of the only people yelling. All the Georgia fans were looking at me like I was crazy when I was there, too. All right, so I've rambled here long enough. I want to go watch these games. Dogs, keep getting better and keep improving. Catch the fucking football when it's thrown to you, and we'll be all right. Y'all have a good Saturday night. See you at some point later on this week for a Texas UGA score prediction. See ya.